I read Five Broken Blades and I'm ready to talk about it. So if you're not aware, Five Broken Blades is actually one of the Goodreads Choice Award nominees for round one. And since I had already bought it, I decided that I wanted to read it in order to decide if I wanted to vote for it for round one. So this basically follows five people who all get together on a mission to kill the king. And our five main characters are Royo. So he is a strong man. His job is literally to kill. He's like a murderer for hire. We have, and I'm really hoping I don't butcher these names, Aeri, which is a really slick thief. Her and Royo are put together through circumstance in the beginning of the book, and I'm gonna have spoilers in this, so this might be a good time to click off if you don't want any spoilers on this book. I won't ruin the finale, but I am gonna talk a little bit about like the character relationships. So Royo and Aeri basically have an insta love situation. They fall in love immediately when they meet, and you get to see like both perspectives. I like a slow burn romance, so them falling in love that quickly was a little bit jarring for me. Then we have Mikhail and Aeon, and they have been lovers for a very long time. So Aeon is the crown prince, but he was banished because of some really dark things that he did. And Mikhail is the royal spy master. And so they haven't seen each other for a long time before the beginning of the book because the prince was banished, but then they have to kind of come back together for this mission. And I will say, I actually really like these characters, both of them, because they are definitely more leaning into morally gray territory. Honestly, probably morally dark territory, because neither of them are really good people. They've done a lot of bad things, and they don't seem to regret a lot of the things they do, but that makes them kind of dynamic. And I appreciate that they also had something going on before the beginning of the story, so it makes more sense that they're already connected by the time that, you know, they meet again for this mission. Then there is Tai and Sora. And so Sora is basically a poisoner. She was put through basically torture in order to become a poisoner and be basically immune to poisons. And so she is also kind of like a courtesan. So they will use her, so like the person who owns her and her sister will basically use her to kill people in a discreet way. Like she'll use like poison in her lipstick or something like that and make it look like a heart attack in order to kill the people that he wants to die. And then Tai is the son of the person who owns Sora. So definitely a lot of interesting dynamics going on with like our three couples. There's 6 people technically that are main characters, but honestly, Tai and Royo, like they kind of have a reason to be here, but they're not really important part of the actual assassination, which I'm assuming is why they're counting Royo but not counting Tai, and why it's called Five Broken Blades. That's my assumption. And honestly, I did enjoy this book. I thought it was like a fun read, but I wouldn't say it's like the best thing I've read all year. I'm surprised that this made the nomination because it is okay. Like, to me, this is a 3-star, but I feel like it needed a little bit more polish, a little bit more time and love when it comes to the writing. I think it was a little bit too easy for me to figure out like who was the likely traitor of the five. I didn't completely guess the ending, which I think is really great, but like the romances were kind of and sometimes the writing would really take me out of the story. So I am curious on what's going to happen in the next book, because I don't know if this, I know this has it will have a second book. I don't know if it'll be like a trilogy or a duology or any or something like that. So I will say it is fun and I will continue it, but I think with a little bit more love in the editing process, it could have been better. It's hard for me to say if I recommend it, because I'm trying to think who I would recommend this for. And I think maybe someone more in the YA space, you know, a young adult that doesn't read a lot of like this type of book and is interested, either really likes those murder plot type of books and doesn't normally go into fantasy, or someone who loves fantasy and is trying to branch out to this type of like murder mystery plot. I say young adult because I just feel like there are other books that are slightly like more adult that are better, and all I could think about when I was reading this was that Six of Crows is a lot better. So if I had to recommend a murder mystery fantasy sort of situation, that's similar to this, I would recommend Six of Crows. And if you really liked this, you will love Six of Crows. But this would just not be in close to the top spots for me when it comes to recommendations.